God's feasts are prophecies to be fulfilled by Yeshua the Messiah. In my previous videos, we saw how Yeshua, called Jesus, fulfilled God's first 4 feasts. Now we'll see the prophecies that describe how God will fulfill the final 3 feasts. Yehovah calls these final 3 feasts the Festival of Ingathering. Again, God's feasts are prophecies. Trumpets, Atonement, and Tabernacles are part of the Festival of Ingathering. The first day of Tishri, the 7th month, is the Day of Trumpets, a Sabbath. Present a food offering to Yehovah. The 10th day is the Day of Atonement. Deny yourself and present a food offering to Yehovah. The 15th day begins the 7-day Feast of Tabernacles. The first day is a Sabbath, and the day after the 7th is a closing Sabbath. About the Day of Trumpets. Say to my people, this is the first day of the 7th month. You are to have a day of Sabbath rest, a sacred assembly, commemorated with trumpet blast. On the first day of the 7th month, hold a sacred assembly. Do no regular work. It's the Day of Trumpets. Three times a year, celebrate a festival to me. Celebrate the Passover and unleavened bread. 7 days eat bread without yeast, which was fulfilled by Christ. Celebrate the Festival of Weeks with the first fruits and at Pentecost, which was fulfilled at the first coming. At the end of the year, celebrate the Festival of Ingathering with trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles. This will soon be fulfilled at Christ's return. The last trumpet in Isaiah 18. All you people of the world, you who live on the earth, when a banner is raised on the mountains, you will see it. When the trumpet sounds, you will hear it. They will all be left on the mountain. Birds of prey will feed on them. At that time, gifts will be brought to Yehovah Almighty from a people feared and far and wide, an aggressive nation, whose land is divided by rivers. The gifts will be brought to Mount Zion, the place in the name of Yehovah Almighty. This is the last trumpet recorded in Isaiah 27. This is a people without understanding, so their Maker has no compassion on them, and their Creator shows them no favor. In that day, Yehovah will thrash from the Euphrates to the Wadi of Egypt, and God's people will be gathered up one by one. In that day, a great trumpet will sound. Those who were perishing will come and worship Yehovah on the holy mountain in Jerusalem. This is from Isaiah's prophecies in chapter 27. The prophet Joel also recorded the last trumpet. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm on my holy hill. Let all who live in the land tremble, for the day of Yehovah is close at hand, a day of darkness. A mighty army comes, such as never was, nor ever will be in ages to come. Before them the earth shakes, the heavens tremble, the sun, the moon, the stars go dark. Yehovah thunders at the head of his army. His forces are beyond number, and mighty is his army. The day of the Lord is great. It is dreadful. Who can endure it? The last trumpet is recorded in Zechariah. Then Yehovah will appear over them. His arrow will flash like lightning. The sovereign Yehovah will sound the trumpet, and he will march in the storms of the south. And Yehovah Almighty will shield them. They will destroy and overcome. They roar as with wine. Their bowls are full of wrath. Yehovah their God will save his people. On that day he will shepherd and save his flock. They'll sparkle in the land like jewels in a crown. From Matthew 24, immediately after the tribulation, the sun and the moon and the stars go dark. Then all the peoples of the earth will mourn when they see Yeshua, the Messiah, coming on the clouds with power and great glory. He will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his people from the four winds of the earth and from heaven. Yeshua said, I will fulfill the law and the prophets. We can see it in the law and the prophets. Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all sleep, but we'll all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. The trumpet will sound. The dead will be raised imperishable, and the mortal will be immortal. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? These last two passages come from Isaiah and Hosea about the return of the Lord on the day of trumpets. 1 Corinthians 15, 51 through 56. The last trumpet in Thessalonians 1:4. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, and with the trumpet call of God. And the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and left will be caught up, raptured, together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. From Revelation, we see the last trumpet. On the seventh day, the seventh angel sounds his trumpet. The mystery of God will be accomplished, as he announced to his servants the prophets. The seventh angel sounded the last trumpet, and the voices in heaven said, the kingdom of the world has become God's kingdom, and his Messiah will reign forever and ever. Yeshua the Messiah will return to gather his people on the day of trumpets. 1 Corinthians 15 states that all God's people will be resurrected at the last trumpet. Yeshua, called Jesus, fulfilled God's first forefeast at his first coming in 32 AD, the beginning of the last days, day 5. He fulfilled Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, and Pentecost. This is all part of God's 7-day plan for man. 1,000 years are but a day, and a day is 1,000 years to the Lord. Yeshua will fulfill God's last 3 feasts at his second coming. This will be the festival of Ingathering, Trumpets, Atonement, and Tabernacles. We're now at the end of day 6, about to enter day 7, when Christ, Yeshua, will return and establish his kingdom on earth, the millennial kingdom, the 7th day, Sabbath rest. Hosea said, after 2 days, God will resurrect us. On the 3rd day, God will restore us, that we may live in his presence. Christ came at the beginning of day 5, which was 2 days ago, and we are now just about at day 7, the 3rd day. Christ will restore us on the 3rd day. Listen, I tell you a mystery about Yeshua's return on the day of trumpets. The day of trumpets. No one knows the day or hour. When the new moon crescent is seen, it begins the feast day of trumpets. When it's overcast, the new moon cannot be seen, which is why the Jews call the day of trumpets the feast. No one knows the day or hour. Jews call the day of trumpets the feast. No one knows the day or hour, since the moon is often cloud-covered. Matthew 24 says they will see Christ coming in glory. But about that day and hour, no one knows. No one will know because on that day of trumpets, the sun and the moon and the stars will be dark, as we see recorded in Matthew 24:29, immediately after the tribulation. Yeshua, the Messiah, returns on the Day of Trumpets. 10 days later, Yeshua will judge his people on the Day of Atonement, also called the Judgment Seat. The Day of Atonement is the Judgment Seat. We will stand before God's Judgment Seat. We must appear before the Judgment Seat of Christ so that we may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body. The Day of Trumpets. No one knows the day or hour. Yeshua returns on the Day of Trumpets. From the 15th to the 22nd, Yeshua will hold the Feast of Tabernacles, also known as the Wedding Banquet. Tabernacles is the wedding banquet. The wise virgins went into the wedding banquet, and the door was shut. Later, the foolish virgins came. "Lord, open the door for us." Yeshua replied, "I don't know you. Keep watch, because you do not know the day or hour." From Revelation 11, the seventh angel sounded the last trumpet. The world became God's kingdom, and the Messiah will reign forever. The nations were angry. God's wrath had come, and the time to judge and reward God's people, and for destroying those who destroy the earth. 1 Corinthians 15. Christ has been resurrected, the first fruits of those who died. For as in Adam all die, so in Christ all will be made alive, each in turn. Christ, the first fruits, then when he comes at his second coming, those who belong to him. 1 Corinthians 15:20. Listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all die. We will all be changed in a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. The trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed from mortal to immortal. At the last trumpet will be Yeshua's second coming, the resurrection and rapture gathering of the church, all God's people. You can see why Yehovah calls this festival the Festival of Ingathering. The time of the end began on 9/11/2001. According to Daniel 12, the end-time prophecy couldn't be completely understood until the words of the scroll were opened. Since 9/11, the words of the scroll have been opened, and a comprehensive study of the time of the end has been done and written in these books by Richard H. Perry. However, the only book I recommend is the Bible.